Good evening, liveweatherblogs.com meteorologist Bob Acanfrio with the latest update on our newest tropical depression number 6. This is the latest advisory as of 5 p.m., the first advisory. It's located at 11 north, 32.1 west. Maximum sustained winds at 30 miles an hour, and the movement was west-northwest at 9. Well, this system really got itself together today. What a difference about 14 hours makes. Early this morning, it didn't look like it was going to do much today. And then in the last 12 hours, this thing really came together, finally broke away from that bigger broad circulation it had and started to just spin up. And here we go. We have ourselves a tropical depression about 24 to 48 hours sooner than I really thought would happen. But it's here. So let's track it here. This is the latest National Hurricane Center forecast track. And you can see keeps it a tropical storm and then brings it up to a hurricane in about 48 hours. Probably by sometime on Monday, we should see a Hurricane Danielle. And then as it starts moving off to the northwest, we could see a major hurricane somewhere in this vicinity right here by Wednesday or Thursday. The official forecast by the National Hurricane Center does get this pretty close to a major hurricane. So we could have our first major hurricane on our hands in about 96 hours, probably in about 4 to 5 days here. So again, it's going to start off west-northwest and then start moving northwest and then start heading out to sea. At least that's what the official forecast track by the National Hurricane Center is currently. So let's show you some of the show you the satellite, then I'll show you some of the models, and I'll tell you what I think is going to happen here. So first off, let's look at our latest satellite, and you can see most of the convection has been to the south, west and south of the center. Starting to see some trying to get wrapped around this center. So this is in its developmental stages here. Still looking pretty good tonight, and it should be on its way to a probably see a tropical storm. Definitely by tomorrow. I would say even by tomorrow morning we could probably have tropical storm Danielle here. Still a little bit of northeasterly shear blowing here, and I'll show you the wind shear map in a minute here. And that's going to probably just kind of keep it in check the next 24 hours or so before it gets into a much lower wind shear out towards the west and northwest out in this vicinity right here. So that'll kind of have just slow development the next 24 to 48 hours. Then it should take off into a hurricane from there. And then now looking at the bigger view here, and here's the official forecast track there. And you can see we're going to have this first trough right here, right about 45-50 west, right here. You can see it spinning here, this upper trough. And this is going to have that influence to start making it move to the northwest. And then when that next trough moves off the east coast, that's going to be the kicker to finally kick it off to the north and out to sea. We have some model discrepancies there. I'll show you in a minute. We have the Euro model really showing this trough digging a little further and really kicking it quickly out to sea. And then we have some of the other models bringing it a little farther west. So I'll show you the differences there in a minute. But you can see nothing really to stop this from developing. It has a pretty nice moist envelope around it, and again, shear is very light all through this area here, so we should definitely see this thing take off into a hurricane. Okay, let's look up a little closer to the wind shear, and here's the shear, and you can see that we've had this little upper trough to the northeast of it, and this is just bringing a little bit of northeasterly shear here to it. I'm sorry, upper high over here to the northeast, excuse me. Boy, it's late. Upper high right here to the northeast. So this is bringing a little bit of northeasterly shear onto our system here today. And that's why a lot of the convection has been to the west and south. But you can see as this moves off to the west-northwest, lighter shear all in this area here. And this is where it's really going to start ramping up. And once we widen this out here, I'll show you the shear here. All light shear, all up in this area here. And this is where this system is going to be moving right through here. And you can see prime development off to the west and northwest of this system. Okay, latest forecast models. This is 18Z and some 0Z models thrown in. This is from the South Florida Management Water District here. And you can see everybody moving pretty much east of Bermuda. This is Bermuda here, New Brunswick, Nova Scotia. So these are the areas we're really going to be watching for with this system. East Coast right now, no worries. Maybe some swells from this maybe if it gets close enough to Bermuda, the surfers might be liking some swells along the East Coast, but I don't see this threatening the East Coast right now at all. The main thing will be how close it gets to Bermuda, and then how close does it get to New Brunswick or Nova Scotia here in the Canadian Maritimes. That's what we're going to be watching with this system. So here we go. These are most of the models from 18Z and 0Z. Intensity models, you can see everybody pretty much bringing it up to a tropical storm within about 24 to 48 hours. Then a hurricane in about 48 to 72 hours. And then getting pretty close to major hurricane status by the ships and the LGEM models. So again, this is going to get close to a major hurricane. Before then, once it starts moving northward, then they'll start encountering some of that southwesterly shear as it gets closer to that trough. So, but this is definitely looking like it'll get close to a major hurricane status. All right, some of the models. So first we have the Euro model. And this one is, again, the most eastern outlier, this and the Canadian. You can see quickly off to the north and really starts bringing it northwest very quickly in the next 24 hours. And then, boom, off to the north and out to sea it goes. So that's the most eastern outlier. GFDL, kind of in the middle with everybody else, bringing it up to a hurricane in about 48 hours or so. And then, boom, here it is, hurricane, about 48 hours, and then close to doesn't really take it all the way to major hurricane status. It kind of keeps it in that Category 2, close to Category 3 range. Again, well east of Bermuda. And here we go, and this is going to be the GFS model. This is the 18Z run here. I'll show you this. It'll start moving here in a second here. And here we go. It came a little farther west with this run. Getting a little closer to Bermuda now with this run. And you can see it actually develops another system to the east of Danielle. So that'll be interesting to see if that happens. But here's Bermuda. Brings it pretty close to Bermuda. And then pretty close to New Brunswick and Nova Scotia. So that's what we're going to be watching. How far west does it really come? And it'll be the difference whether Bermuda or even the Canadian Maritimes gets any effect from this system. And I think the trend could be for it to move a little farther west. So again, Bermuda, and then again, the Canadian Maritimes, we'll have to really watch this system carefully. Islands, this isn't going to affect Puerto Rico, Leeward Islands, when nothing there. And again, United States looks pretty much spared from this system. HWRF model, now this is the model that keeps it much weaker and then moves it a little farther west. Doesn't look like it's going to be this week. So this model you have to throw out right now. I don't see this system staying this week at all. Not with that wind shear ahead of it. And not the way it's ramping up today. And again, another reason why I think this is definitely going out to sea now is because it did really ramp up quickly today. It's now organizing. I thought if it could have stayed weaker and maybe didn't get going right away, it could have moved farther west. But we're seeing it's on its way to being in the developmental stages. And so this is definitely heading out to sea again. It'll just depend. Does it come close to Bermuda? Then does it come close to the Canadian Maritimes down the road? That's what we're really going to be watching with the forecast right now. So that's it for today. I will give another forecast update for you guys tomorrow morning on Sunday. Have a good night.